Hi guys, and welcome to another Yesterday's Airlines video and another exclusive NG Models mold reveal. I'm super happy to be able to announce that NG Models' next 3 molds will be to complete their 737 next generation family, producing the 737-600, 700 and 900 to join the 737-800, which you can see here as the old sample with the blue tail. So in this video, we're going to concentrate on the smallest of the 737 next generation family members, the Boeing 737-600. Not a particularly good seller for Boeing. They sold, I think it was less than 70 of this series. Having said that, the development costs were low, and it did go some way to killing McDonnell Douglas off by removing quite a substantial number of MD-95 orders from people like SAS. So probably just about worth making for Boeing. Was it worth making for NG models? That's an interesting question. Presumably the development costs are very low because you've got 90% commonality with the existing Series 800. You've got the same wings, you've got the same engines, you've got the same vertical stabilizer, you've got the same undercarriage. You really just the fuselage different, and it's really only different in its length. So I guess the development costs for the mold were quite low anyway. And hey, it's always good to have more of the slightly obscure models. At least I think it is. So it's good to have another 737-600. Previous to this, there's only been 2 molds, very underused and not very good. Herpa 737-600 from quite a long time ago, and much more recently a Panda Models version. So we'll have a look and see how this one compares. So straight away, if I move the model around, you can see that it shares all of the good characteristics of the NG Series 800, which is easily the best 737 that's ever been made in 400 scale. It looks really good from the side. NG have done some work to improve the nose gear doors, and also they've changed the line of the nose somewhat. Whether it's a dramatic improvement or not, I don't know, but it looks pretty good from the angles I'm looking at. I think it's going to be a really nice model. One thing to point out, as has already been pointed out by a few people, is that the 737-600 never had a wingleted version, so I wouldn't get too carried away with the fact this one has. It's obviously just using the wings of one of the 800s. They've clearly got a wing which doesn't have winglets, so I'm sure that NG aren't stupid enough to make that mistake and put winglets on models that shouldn't have when they come around to producing the real thing. So that's not an issue. Bit more of a concern from me is the fact that they have got a tail bumper here, and the Series 600 does not have that tail bumper. So that's a minor mold change which they will need to make to the fuselage, which I'm sure they will. But overall, the mold's looking pretty good. You can see it's got a really nice shape. It's got a really solid construction. It's got all the good traits that the 800 has. And I think this is going to be a fine 737. And there are some good, candidate models to be made on this that haven't been made anywhere else so far. Air Algerie, Tunis Air, Malev, Fly Globespan, and of course, I'm sure you're going to see Air China, China Southwest, and WestJet, and some of the others that have been made on the Panda mold. So that's really the competition, the Panda mold. So we've actually got an example of the Panda Series 600 here, and overall the Panda 600 is pretty good. They don't make any mistakes with the tail bumper. It's a good mold. I like the look of it. Personally, I wouldn't go about replacing my Panda version with an NG Models one, because I think this mold is really nice. I do think that the NG's probably got slightly better undercarriage, it's got slightly better nose gear, it's got slightly better engine exhausts here, it's got maybe a slightly nicer nose, but overall they're both quality molds, and it seems a near certainty now that we're going to get some really good coverage of the Series 600, which is one of those smaller aircraft types which has been largely ignored and isn't too obvious as a contender. It'll be interesting to see whether NG take the logical next step and use the Series 600 to make a Series 500. Obviously, it would require new wings, it would require a new vertical stab, but I believe the fuselage is the same length, so they could do that, and that would be awesome because there aren't that many 500s around, even though JC Wings has been making a few recently. But I think there's good reason for making this, and it adds and completes their next-gen family, and overall the mould sample looks great. So there we go. Quick look at the new NG models, Boeing 737-600. Hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, check out Yesterday's Airlines for all the latest news, especially these kind of exclusives from people like NG Models. And like me on Instagram at Yesterday Airlines and on Facebook. Thanks very much for watching. See you later.